Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to respond to His Excellency, the President's address for the opening of this new parliamentary session. And I convey my congratulations to His Excellency Ratu William Katunivere on his appointment, and I wish him well. And I also acknowledge the former President, His Excellency Mr. George Connerotte, for his term of service to the country which had come to an end. Honorable Speaker, His Excellency the President had reminded us that democracy created under our Fijian Constitution will wither with our complacency, but comes alive with public's participation. Honorable Speaker, I must say I find this statement rather ironical. Therefore, in my response, I will focus on the issue and concept of democracy, as alluded to by His Excellency the President, and give corresponding examples to highlight the gaps that exist in our so-called democracy, the gaps that have come about in the implementation and application of the legislative framework, policies and programs of the government. Indeed, our democracy has taken many forms, and the examples will help us see how our democracy has grown, the shape and color it has achieved, resulting from the decision-making of the leadership that wields power in Parliament, in the judiciary, in the executive, and also through the media. Honorable Speaker, at the outset, let me say that the people are not being complacent. People want true and genuine democracy. The people are eager, willing, and ready to participate, promote democratic processes, practices, and principles. But unfortunately, it is the Fiji First government that has intentionally designed the 2013 Constitution to hoodwink the people into believing that it would bring us genuine democracy. But unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, they have continuously failed to consult the people and deliberately deny the people of Fiji that opportunity to participate in nurturing and promoting our democracy. Honorable Speaker, for example, let us look at the Constitution, and we will recall that the Yashigai draft Constitution that involved wide consultation and participation by the people throughout Fiji was burnt. And that was done by the same authority that now sits here as the Fiji First government. That burning sent out clear warning signals to the people not to disagree with the government. That burning of that draft constitution warned the people that the ultimate power is with the Fiji First government and not the people. That burning signified the erosion of our democracy. Furthermore, that burning resulted in a huge loss of public funds and also humiliation and intimidation of the very well-qualified Constitution Committee members. Then the Fiji First government created and imposed the 2013 Constitution, which has been met with wide rejection by the people. And to counter this, the government came up with a Constitution public holiday, renaming of the street outside Parliament as the Constitution Avenue. But unfortunately, this has failed to buy people's acceptance, because this 2013 Constitution is a product of the 2006 coup that was led by the PM Bainimarama himself. This is the reality of the Fiji brand of democracy, which is looking more like parliamentary dictatorship, Honorable Speaker. The government side and their excellencies, His Excellency the President, former and present, have always argued that this constitution gives democracy to Fiji. But in the past years, we have seen restrictive legislation to stifle media and curtail the rights of peaceful assembly and the freedom of expression, even to the point of suppression of dissenting voices. Honorable Speaker, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of association are cornerstones of democracy, which are touted in the 2013 Constitution, but with subtle limitations and restrictions. For example, we will recall members of the opposition, the Honorable leader of NFP, Honorable Biman Prasad, now Honorable Ngavoka, Honorable Tambuya, Honorable Ndioni Barabi, were all harassed by the police and taken to CID for questioning because they voiced their criticisms on the lack of consultations with key stakeholders on Bill number 17 to amend the Itoke Land Trust Act. Likewise, the NGO Coalition on Human Rights raised their voices and demanded for greater consultation and collaborations with all relevant key stakeholders regarding any proposed changes to any laws. But unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, this Fiji First government just doesn't listen to the people. So what type of democracy is this? Are the members of the public complacent? Is the opposition complacent in undertaking our parliamentary oversight role? Or is the separation of power between the legislature, judiciary, and executive becoming very blurred because of political interference? So who is not allowing the people to participate in building of our democracy, Honorable Speaker? Having said that, we ask the question again, is that the type of democracy His Excellency the President refers to when he said, and I quote, that he will protect the young flame of our democracy from any and all who seek to extinguish it for personal and political purposes. And I will use my leadership to support the highest possible functioning of the state and the work of the executive to realize the objectives of our Constitution. We have far too much left to achieve to let sideshows dominate our national discourse. End of quote, Honorable Speaker. These words of His Excellency the President are sounding more like threat rather than a call for unity to continue to build our democracy. And we must note that His Excellency the President is the Commander-in-Chief of the Fiji Military Forces. And secondly, Section 1312 of the 2013 Constitution mandates the Fiji Military Forces with the overall responsibility to ensure at all times the security, defense, and well-being of Fiji and all Fijians. That, Honorable Speaker, strongly suggests that Fiji is more like a military regime, because in other jurisdictions, in other countries, this is the role of any democratically elected government and not the military. And it is very worrying to hear His Excellency the President making that call, because one wonders who wrote his address and what is meant by what is left to be achieved, by whom and why and how and for whom. Honorable Speaker, another nagging issue brought about by this 2013 Constitution is Section 53(1), and that is the single national constituency. This section has been deliberately designed to disadvantage aspiring candidates from other political parties in standing for the general election. And this is because of Fiji's very challenging geographical layout too. The single national constituency does not provide a level playing field. For those reasons, I must say that the one constituency model is not suitable for Fiji because it does not encourage members of parliament, especially those in opposition, to know their constituents and their issues of concern in regards to poor public service delivery and any other issues they may have. Unfortunately for Fiji, Honorable Speaker, this is another perfect example of how the structures of democracy are designed in the 2013 Constitution to ensure that the Fiji First government remains in power. Honorable Speaker, in any true democracy, members of parliament, especially members of the opposition, are resourced adequately to be able to effectively carry out their important role in visiting and meeting their voters. And I will give you these examples. In the previous term of parliament, we, the women members of parliament at the time, went for a parliamentary visit to East Timor. And East Timor was just rebuilding from internal conflict. Honorable Speaker, their system was that they sit in Parliament for every week, Monday to Wednesday. On Thursday and Friday, everyone goes out for constituency work. And all members, regardless of whether you're in government or the opposition, they all provided with the transport and the necessary resources. That is a true democracy. Again, Honorable Speaker, in the previous session, we have a twinning program with Victoria Parliament. And in that one of our visits, we were also taken on a tour on each member's office in their constituency. So all members were provided office, transport, and all other required resources to be able to undertake this important role of our parliamentary duties to visit our voters. That, Honorable Speaker, we have been denied that. Our system has been designed in such a way that we are given 15,000 per member, and that 15,000 goes to the party. There is a prohibition that any of that money is allocated to any member to undertake constituency work. And constituency work is a pillar of our parliamentary work, Honorable Speaker. And this is why I'm raising this, because even though His Excellency the President has alluded to genuine democracy, the democratic processes in place does not allow genuine democracy to happen. Honorable Speaker, and also we will note that here in Parliament, and also on the formulation of the standing orders, which emanates out from the Section 71(1) of the 2013 Constitution, mandates us to formulate our standing orders. And particular parts of that standing orders restricts the work done by members of the opposition. For example, Honorable Speaker, when we started off this Parliament in 2014, we were doing very well. And then as we progressed, standing orders was changed about 5 times. And because of that changes, petition from the members of the public are killed on the floor of Parliament because we vote, and the government deliberately uses its majority numbers to kill the people's voices carried in that petition on the floor of Parliament. And also, Honorable Speaker, in our visits to other jurisdictions, to other Parliament, the Honorable Prime Minister is given a 1-hour questioning time without notice on the floor of Parliament. But in our standing orders, we have to submit questions for almost 2 weeks. Exactly, Honorable Corella Vesau, that's why I'm trying to emphasize how our democracy is looking like. Honorable Speaker, another aspect of our standing order is the removal of the chair of the Public Accounts Committee. Honorable Usamate, that is our role in the opposition, is to keep you in check. Whether the roads are done, whether the waiting shelter in the rural maritime are done.
Order. Don't carry out a conversation between you two just because you're seated opposite each other. Through the speaker. You have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And still for the benefit of Honorable Usamate, last weekend I went to Nandi, and he should do that quite recently, because the tar seal on the road is all melting and the road becomes very slippery. And we wonder, Honorable
Order.
should be given the opportunity. adequately resourced to visit the people and come to Parliament and let you know, and you listen and go and carry out the work that you're supposed to be doing. Honorable Speaker, we have also seen the massive recruitment of CEOs, expatriate CEOs, overlooking our very well qualified people, Honorable Speaker. And that is part of this Fiji First government's public service reform. Honorable Speaker, a good functional government, ministry or statutory body delivering effective and efficient public service is paramount in supporting the democratic functions of the executive as mandated under the Constitution. The civil servant has seen a big recruitment of CEOs from overseas. And soon after they arrive, they are going back to their countries due to resignation of reasons like ill health, family reasons, or just any other reasons, Honorable Speaker. They come, Honorable Speaker, they talk about merit recruitment. They talk about merit recruitment. These are very meritorious people, Honorable Speaker. But because the power of in Fiji that does not agree to these expatriate permanent secretaries doing their job the way it should be done, just like the burning of the Constitution. When it's not up to what they want, it's either their way or the highway. And that is the practice by this government, Honorable Speaker. How can you say that, Honorable Usamate, when you know that people have come and gone?
Order.
Honorable Speaker, still on the civil service and the statutory bodies, let me highlight the sacking of the CEO of the Bureau of Stats. Honorable Speaker, he was sacked because he highlighted the poverty data in Fiji. And in that, he highlighted the certain categories of poverty pockets in Fiji. And in one of those, he highlighted that the poverty classification criteria included ethnicity, which is race, and religion. And that was met with a lot of rejection from the Honorable Attorney General. Honorable Speaker, let me remind the other side of the House that they should look beyond that and do not demonize race and religion. That poverty statistic is telling us volumes on the level or the rate of poverty in Fiji. And any responsible government will use those indicators and formulate new policies, new programs that will be able to address this high poverty statistics in the Itoke communities in Fiji, Honorable Speaker. So instead of interjecting, what are the new ways you're looking at this poverty statistic? How will you address poverty in Fiji, which has been heightened now by the onslaught of COVID-19, Honorable Speaker? And Honorable Speaker, on the local government, after 2006, the municipal council lawyers and councillors that were elected were sacked. And that, Honorable Speaker, demonstrated erosion of democracy, weakening of political rights, the very rights provided for in the 2013 Constitution. The former minister responsible for local government, two of them, Honorable Bala, Honorable Premila Kumar, promised in this House that the Local Government Act will be reviewed. Now they have moved on, and that still has not been done. Honorable Speaker, they know They know that the current Local Government Act, which has different councillors, does not augur in well, and they cannot synchronize that with the national electoral system, Honourable Speaker. So that's why the local government is left as it is. They cannot find a way to rectify their own electoral changes in the Act, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, on the Ministry of Women and Poverty Alleviation, I plead with all of us in this House and also in Fiji to observe the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And that is from the 25th of November to the 10th of December. So for all of us listening in, do something nice to the women of Fiji. Go and do the domestic work. Go and bring in the food that you're supposed to be bringing in. Look after the children in the house, and just be loving to the women in your household, Honourable Speaker. And as we know, love conquers all. Money will not buy that, Honourable Speaker. It's the individual that will have to play their part and love the women of Fiji as they love themselves. In conclusion, Honourable Speaker, we in the opposition are not complacent. We are speaking out and pleading with the government to listen to the people. So together we can make the people's priority be the government priority. And together we build a more sincere and genuine democracy for the well-being and of all Fijians. And lastly, Honourable Speaker, I make this call to all those that are watching TV or the parliamentary live feed, to those listening in over the radio. Please wake up. Niyandra Manda, pull the wool from your eyes and see that democracy in our country is masked in parliamentary dictatorship. And let us vote this Fiji First government out in the 2022 general election. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.